All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Freezin NFC North Podcast, episode 141. We're going to be ranking the NFC North quarterbacks, and we have a special guest, Arena Football League 1 playoff QB, Tyler Kulka. Thanks for joining us. Where can everyone find you as we get started?
You can find me at Tyler Kulka 17 on Instagram or TKulk 17 on Twitter. And right now I'm with the Nashville Cats, and we're going to try and win a championship now, first round of the playoffs, and we're at home. We got the 2 seed, so we're pretty excited about the future.
Awesome. Love having you on, and we're going to get into a lot of learning about your career and all that, and then obviously ranking the quarterbacks and things like that. Now, your branding is Kulkamania. Do you do the whole kind of Hulk Hogan spiel then?
No. Actually, it's kind of funny. Obviously, I wasn't called Kulkamania until this year, being in arena football, and it kind of just has blown up just recently. It got given me by some AF1 fans and stuff like that, and it's kind of just blown up over the season. I didn't come into the Nashville Cats till the third game of the season. It started since then and have a 6-2 record since then. And now we're the 2 seed in the playoffs. And so we're really excited, but yeah, Kulkamania just kind of came about from the fans of the AF1. And, I'm just kind of taking it and running with it. So
love that. Well, you can find me on NFL Outdated on Twitter, X, on YouTube, and you can find us on Freezin 4 Pod on the TikTok. And someone who is a great guest, love having him here. He always brings it. Miles, where can everyone find you as we get started?
Good evening. You can find me on the Pack Weekly podcast every Monday night, streaming live, 9:30 p.m. Central. Just talking Pack, man. We're not bringing all that other stuff in there, unless, of course, an NFC North troll wants to come along. Then we'll have you on. But Tyler, man, I'd love to have you on at some point too, man. Maybe you'll find your way onto a Packers roster at some point.
I would love to. That'd be a dream come true for me.
Right on, man.
That would be cool. I would root for that for sure. Obviously for a couple games a year to not do well, but that's okay. And the future is bright, obviously, with you wearing your sunglasses, Miles.
Always.
I'm gonna let that slide. All right. As a Bears fan, it's okay. We got a bright future as well. Someone who has a bright present and future. 7th letter. Where can everyone find you as we get started?
7th letter 4 on Twitter, X, and same OG on Instagram and Facebook, and still on top of the NFC North.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is. There it is. Well, as we get started, obviously it's off season. There's so much to talk about. Everyone is 0-0. Obviously my Bears are 1-0 in 2025, which I love that. I love that, Miles. 2021 or 2025, we're 1-0, especially versus the Packers, week 18. My quarterback is
R.I.P. Miss McCaskey.
My quarterback, Caleb Williams, he is getting some tough coaching, and I think he's needed that. So, Tyler, first of all, you've had some different coaches in your career. How do you kind of take tough coaching and any type of coaching as a quarterback in your role?
Well, from the quarterback position's perspective, you want to take the tough coaching when you're in practice, when you're in training. And when you get in the game, that's where your coach needs to be calm, cool, and collected, and, be able to, keep you on high, because when you're in that game, especially with the game gets emotional and stuff like that, you have to stay right here as a quarterback. And so, the toughest coaching you need is in practice. Those coaches need to get on you. They need to get on you in the film room after practice and, try to critique you and make you better. But then when it gets to the game, that tough coaching needs to stop, and we got to be okay. We're right here. We're staying level-headed the whole game, no matter if you're throwing 3 picks or 3 touchdowns.
So I love that insight. And obviously you started out Lawrence Tech Blue Devils, NAIA, obviously a really small school. And, obviously it's been, going from a smaller school now and kind of working your way into the pros. And with the news about Caleb Williams not doing his film study, things like that, what were your thoughts when you heard that comment from Caleb Williams and that whole discussion? And then how does that translate to kind of what you've done?
Well, I mean, I think film is very important for playing quarterback. I think depending on who you are, I think every quarterback's different. I think some quarterbacks, you look at Sam Darnold, where, he was in a game seeing ghosts, and that comes from maybe watching a little too much film. Expect things to happen that you've seen on film, and maybe it doesn't happen. So, I think every quarterback's different. I think my perspective is I'm a big film junkie. I like to put in the work after practice. So I think it's just different for every quarterback. I think that's my answer to that one. I think Caleb Williams is a generational talent. And I think it would benefit him getting in the film room a little bit more. But hey, man, every quarterback's different. Everybody's great because for what they've done. And I'm not going to go critique one quarterback or another quarterback because, he's a great quarterback and he is where he is right now for a reason.
You heard that seventh letter, didn't you? Generational. You heard that.
I also heard that he would have rather played in the UFL than play for the Bears. I remember hearing that too.
Ooh, that's cool. I did not hear that. So.
Hey, I'm not shying away from how bad the ownership has been and the leadership has been from the Bears, but we're where we need to be at right now. And I'm excited for what I have with Ben Johnson. And, Miles, when you kind of look at we've done this in the past, but when you look at the quarterbacks and kind of, coming out into the NFL, you talked about prospects. What have you kind of seen when you've gone to the Senior Bowl and everything like that?
Yeah, man, I actually would love to see what you think of this, Tyler. But when I talk about quarterbacks, and I'm not one, but I'm a small school guy, played receiver at UW Oshkosh. So okay. Totally respect your path, man, and definitely rooting for you to keep going as long as you can.
Appreciate that.
But the quarterback position, from my perspective as a receiver, was always really about decision making more than it was ability. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, highly. I think the quarterback position is way more about distributing the ball and being a point guard rather than it is the flashy plays. I think the game has turned into nowadays you need to be able to scramble and do all these things. And I think Tom Brady kind of said it best is, the game has really changed for quarterbacks where they're scouting these quarterbacks that can run around and make crazy plays instead of being smart and being able to check you out of bad plays and get you into good plays. I think that's something that's, I think very true. And I think it's just, just like you said, I think it's mostly about timing and distributing the ball rather than as being flashy and doing that stuff.
Yeah, man. So that's why, and now we can talk just quarterback nerd stuff, but that was my knock on Caleb Williams coming out is it didn't feel like he was a great decision maker. Tons of talent for sure. But when, you got Lincoln Riley out there calling plays for you and you're still kind of like, you're not able to get that going at USC, it was just a red flag for me. And I will admit, considering the conditions in Chicago, it seems like he dealt, he played the hand that he was dealt pretty well in his first year. So I'll give him that. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see how he matures from here. Because I still, now under Ben Johnson, I don't think it's a given that anything from last year is going to translate to this year, bad or good. So, yeah, I'm interested to see how his decision-making evolves. But that's something that I always look at, man. I feel like it's not talked about as much. But, Andy, no, as far as, quarterbacks go, man, should we see if Tyler, wants to rank the quarterbacks in the NFC North?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Before we get there,
I don't want to get ahead of you.
Well, yeah, before seventh letter, I want you to chime in here. Obviously, you love your Jared Goff, right?
That's my stepson.
What do you love about Jared Goff?
Man. Is that all Jared Goff does is win. Wherever he goes, that's all he does. He goes, he puts something around him. He's a statue. I understand. But wherever he goes, he wins. And he beats the shit out of everybody in this division. So I don't know. I don't know. Like he's one. I've seen him win games. Matthew Stafford lost constantly. So
probably boiled down to decision making.
So yeah, Tyler, obviously you're a Lions guy, and so are you on the same kind of path as seventh letter is with your quarterback?
Well, I'm a huge Lions guy, tried and true. Been a big Matthew Stafford fan, and I think he's probably one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league right now. Now, the tough thing is Jared Goff. I don't think he's one of the most talented quarterbacks. Do I think, just like we just talked about, he's probably one of the better decision makers in the league, and he does a really good job at that. I'm really interested to see what happens with him this year without Ben Johnson. But dude, that guy has great talent around him. He's got a great O-line. He's got great receivers. And, what I've seen is he's accurate with the football. And realistically, if you can make good decisions and be accurate with the football, you can win games and be a successful quarterback in that league. And that's what I think he really is. Jared Goff really is. Now, do I think he's more talented than all these other guys in the league? No, I don't think he's more talented. But I
don't either.
I really think that he is the best decision maker. And if I had to rate my quarterbacks right now in this league, I would put him as number one.
In the league or in the division?
No, in the NFC. We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
In the league, we got Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I was like, oh, man. Whoa.
All right. So you're putting Jared Goff number one. Who's number two?
So, hot take. I would put JJ McCarthy.
Oh, no. Really? Oh, man.
Oh, my
JJ
goodness.
McCarthy is a very talented quarterback. He's a winner. And you guys are going to see a lot this year, I think, from him. But he's also.
Well, let's see it first.
You got to remember, he's got great talent around him, as well as the fact that he's insanely talented. He's accurate. He can run. He can do all those things. So that would be my number two. That's my hot take, though. That's my hot take.
Oh my goodness!
And I
all
also
our Vikings fans are like excited by this.
My brother knows him personally, or not knows him personally, but they went to a camp together at Michigan and worked together. So, and I think he's an insanely talented quarterback. I would rate him as number two in the league in this conference.
He hasn't played yet.
That's true. That's true. But I mean, well, that's true. What are you asking me then? Who's the best right now?
Hey, man. Hey, listen, I'm not a JJ McCarthy hater. I see it, but like you as a quarterback, you're in peak nerd quarterback world right now.
Yes.
Like I respect your perspective on that, man. That's a little shocking to me that you now are you projecting forward a little bit, or do you think he can be the second best quarterback in the division this season?
No, I think it's going to be this season. I really think so. I think Caleb Williams is going to jump with Ben Johnson as his coordinator. I'm interested to see the Jordan Love. I mean, for me, what I see from him is he throws off his back foot a lot, and he does make plays. Don't get me wrong, he does make plays. But I've also seen some pretty bad interceptions too. So, and the biggest thing from the quarterback position is we need to take care of the ball. So I think and that's something that I've learned, throughout my entire career is the most important thing is taking care of that ball and not throwing picks and not turning the ball over. And, I look at my season this year. That's why we've done so well. And that's why we're the 2 seed in the lead is because I've only thrown 2 interceptions in those 8 games.
Well, man, so, I was getting ready to compliment your decision making, man. You got 31 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. That's pretty impressive decision making. And then you throw this JJ McCarthy take at me. I'm a little caught off guard. To be honest.
Well, no, and not only that, I saw that you had a pretty good touchdown run as well. Was this last week? Yeah. So
stepped on and just took off.
Hey, there we go, man.
Shout out to our Giants guys, always jumping on here. Obviously, we throw shade at them a lot as well. But imagine getting excited about a quarterback whose best move is handing the ball off to a running back. I mean,
hey, I disagree. Look at Michigan before he got there, and when he was at Michigan and actually playing. You got to look at that too. He's a very talented player, so I think he's going to do great this year.
Well, obviously with the Lions, 7th letter is you're excited for your coaches this year, right?
Yes, I am.
So what are you Ben Johnson hater, right? I mean, you don't like about Ben Johnson. He's happy that he's gone.
Yeah, I am.
Wow, that's surprising. I liked Ben Johnson. I was sad to see him leave. So let me hear your take on this.
I don't like Ben Johnson. He plays around too much. He gets cute when you don't have to be cute. Like, he does that a lot. He passes when he should run a lot. Like, when Jahmyr Gibbs is averaging 9 yards a carry, why are we doing trick plays? Like, he would do a lot of stuff that we get a lot of. It's these little lulls we get in the game. where it's like we're toward the end of the season, like against San Fran, he called a real good game. Against the Vikings at the end, he called a real good game. Then we get to the home game, the playoff game, and he bugs the fuck out. So it's like stuff like that he do. Against the Bills, he did that shit. Like he goes away with what's working just to try to get a pass or a trick play in there to try to be cute. And he always did that shit, and it used to bother me so much. I'm good on how I was happy to see him leave finally, because I'm tired of like it always being up in the air, not knowing whether he's gonna leave or stay. Like, just go. And then he went to the Bears. Like, yeah, clown, get out of there. Get out of there. Can't stand him. I liked Ben Johnson when he was here, but I don't think it's as big as a blow as everybody else thinks. Like, to be honest, like not really.
Well, Tyler, take us inside a little bit. So I'm not sure how it works. Kind of, I'm guessing NAIA maybe didn't have the technology that some of the pro leagues have, or did you have like mics in the helmets as well in college, or how did that work?
Yeah, no, it was all signals from the sideline. I think the
Michigan likes that, by the way.
They just did that this year, right? Michigan, or they put it in the NCAA like maybe this year, right, or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty.
Well, that was the first year, so I was before that. Obviously, it was against the rules. I don't know if my college does it now, but yeah, it was all signals from the sideline. So hopefully, no one was stealing those.
So now in like the professional league, now you have kind of the a mic in your helmet, then, right?
No, well, the arena football is a little different. So arena football, you have a coach on the field. So they're kind of standing behind. So basically, you're kind of communicating with them because they're on the field.
Okay.
I don't know if that's specific with the AFL or the AF1, but that's how that is. So we don't have to worry about that. We're with our OC on the field.
That actually sounds familiar. My brother back in the day when the Arena Football League was in Chicago, and he was on the Chicago Rush kind of marketing team. And I remember kind of Coach Hohensee actually being out there and, all that process. So yeah, that makes sense. So take us inside kind of like a huddle. I mean, Seventh Letter talked about kind of getting cute and things like that. Obviously you're strategizing back and forth. And as a fan, we see one thing and we're like, well, why didn't they just do that? It's so simple. Why didn't they just go there? It could have been easy. Could have got, yards. As a quarterback, throughout kind of the game, what are you seeing? And maybe what is your coach kind of communicating to you strategy wise?
Well, through the game, you're looking for little things, leverage a lot of times. So, I know like my coach, right now we talk about a lot of like, there can't be two places at once. You can't stop this play and not stop another play. So you got that's what a great OC does. They have maybe 4 or 5 plays that kind of build off each other, and they have a bunch of different sequences. So like, specifically like if we're doing like a quick game pass and we want to throw like hitches or something like a 5-yard route. There's 2 ways to stop that. Either you take a hat out of the box or you bring a safety down. And so like, you have to kind of play the game in that way of like, okay, well, if they're going to bring a safety down, then we could throw it over the top and we can go deep. If they keep a safety back and they take somebody out of the box, then we can run the ball. So it's little things like that where most plays, we're looking for little things. We're looking for, okay, how did they stop this run to the right? Did they bring a guy over from the backside? Are they changing it from a cover 4 to a cover 3? And then we can attack it that way with RPOs or things like that. So I think it's a lot about playing that mind game and being able to understand, okay, if we run this play, there's only certain things they can do to stop it. And how are they going to stop that? And if they stop it this way, this is what we're going to do to attack it.
Wow. Yeah. I think as a fan, it's easy just to kind of look at it from a broader perspective from our TVs and just be the armchair quarterback and say, well, why didn't they just do this? But there's a lot of like chess going on basically.
Oh yeah. Football is, it's so fun because me and my friends talk about it all the time, but it's literally like gladiator chess, and we get to play it. It's one of it's the greatest game, and it's the greatest game in the world in my mind. It's a lot of fun.
Totally agree. Hey man, so as far as that goes, like when you guys are kind of navigating a game strategy like that, do you feel like you are in sync with your offensive coordinator and his play calling from square one, or does it take you guys a few series to feel it out?
I think you kind of have to be. I think we go in with a plan every game of who we want to attack, what we want to do. And I think that's very, very important with your coordinator to be able to go in and do that. And a lot of times, we have a lot of conversations where, okay, we're calling this play to attack this. And if they're doing something here, I already know, okay, I know what coach is going to probably call next because they did this to stop what we just did. Right. So I think like when Ben Johnson comes over with Caleb Williams, he's going to coach him hard because at the same time, he needs to know when he gets in that game and those first 10 plays that are scripted, or if they don't do scripted plays, he needs to know this is what, Coach Johnson's thinking up there in the box, that he wants to do this because this is how they're stopping this play. And so I think that's insanely important. When you get a new coordinator, you need to be on the same wavelength.
Totally. So seventh letter, obviously you have all new coaches. Have you kind of familiarized yourself with the names?
Not new.
Well, I mean, they're new to the rest of us. I mean, I mean, they haven't done the in-game stuff yet, though, like that. I mean, it's just they've been the understudies.
It's okay. It's time. They've been getting cross-trained the whole time. The whole time. They were doing meetings, everything. I mean, not the offensive coordinator. He left. He went over there to Denver and then came back. But he was on the staff before. Like, Campbell is going to run his offense the way he runs his offense. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to play defense and stop the run. And we're going to win the North again. You're going to be mad. We might split a couple times this year with you guys because I don't think we'll go 6-0 in the division again. You know how we do. You know what I'm saying, Andy?
Hey, I know exactly what you're saying. But in my mind, I think the tough thing is obviously our head coach is very aggressive, but I'm interested to see how this new OC is going to come in and want to call plays. So I'm very interested to see how that goes when that comes in. But I don't disagree with you. The aggressiveness and how he gets behind those players, it's unmatched in the NFL right now. And we need more coaches to get like that.
Who is this nameless offensive coordinator for the Lions? I don't think we know his name. I think he'll probably be fired after this year, right?
Hold up, it's like a regular name too. It's like
John Smith,
something like crazy. Hold up.
So as you're looking for that,
John Morton. We used to have a player named Johnny Morton.
Johnny Morton. Oh yeah, yeah. Giant Goofball. Tyler, thoughts on Caleb Williams not being the same since he lost Jordan Addison? Ooh. I mean, from USC.
Anybody think about no damn Jordan?
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I mean,
good at Oklahoma though. I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't his fault.
No.
Like Caleb Williams didn't play too bad.
I don't know. I watched that Notre Dame game and I was like, man, that was. And again, I can sit there, and I can sit there as a quarterback and say, all right, that was on the receiver, or that was on a tight end, or that was on a play call or something like that. But I remember watching that Notre Dame game and it just felt like, man, Caleb Williams is just forcing the ball right now. And we just, you just got to take care of it and get back into this game. But, he didn't do that. So I don't know. I mean, the thing about Caleb Williams is he has so much talent, but it's just the decision-making. And as soon as he can fix that and play on time, because that's another thing that he doesn't do as well, is he needs to play on time a little bit better. I think he could be the best quarterback in the league because he has insane talent. He's just got to put it all together.
So have you had that, where maybe you've just kind of maybe tried to force things, and then you've had maybe a coach or a teammate just kind of like snap you back in to say, hey, just do what you need to do and don't force things?
Yeah. So the last time I was kind of like that was early in my college career. And, I realized that what your team needs is for you to take care of the ball. And that is the most important thing. And I learned that, going through my college career and then going to Japan and then, now being in AF1, that's the most important thing to keep your team in a ball game. And so, I think the toughest part about that though, is when you get, deep into a game and you're down maybe a couple scores, then it's time. All right, you can't just be Charlie check down the whole game too. And so I think there's a very fine line of like, all right, we're down 2 or 3 scores. We need to try and make some plays. And maybe you do throw some picks at the end of the game to try and keep your team in it or something like that. But I think there's a very fine line of like, if that game is close and you have to take care of the ball. And I think like, but again, it's a fine line. That's why playing quarterback so hard. That's why they get paid the big bucks, because it's not easy.
Yeah. Well, so I'm glad you brought up Charlie Checkdown, because my job on Twitter is to troll. It's easier to troll Packer fans. I mean, that usually blows up.
There's
Vikings
so
fans
many of them that take it every time.
They do every time. And Vikings fans have been a little bit lukewarm. They're starting to kind of, get up there. Lions fans, they just get angry mostly. But the thing with
Detroit pride, baby.
Yes.
One pride.
Well, and so it's kind of an interesting thing here with JJ McCarthy, because I went to the draft in Detroit, great experience. But you have a Michigan guy going to the Vikings, and so I'm trying to get Lions fans on board with me, in trying to call him JJ check down McCarthy. So obviously it's my trolling, but are you able to dispel that notion that he's more of a check down quarterback?
I don't know. I think watching him in college, first of all, it's a hot take, but I'm also a JJ McCarthy fan, so I may be a little biased. But what I will say is, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not a Michigan fan. I'm a Sparty fan. Go green. But when I, growing up, I always, when I watch college football, I always pick my favorite quarterback, and that turns out to be the other team that I watch besides Michigan State. So, and BYU, I'm a big Cougar fan as well. But when JJ McCarthy was there, I was a huge Michigan fan because of the fact that I love JJ McCarthy. I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's great mentally, all that stuff. And you watch JJ when he was there, and you watch some of the throws that he makes and things like that. Like, he's got it all. It's just they weren't asking him to do that much at Michigan. And granted, if you look at that team before JJ got there with the same kind of coaches, and after JJ got there, JJ turned that team around. And so that's something that I think is impressive to me. And some of the throws he made, like, I don't think he's a check down quarterback at all. I just think that's what he was asked to do at Michigan, and he played that role really well, and also was the leader that the team needed him to be.
Yeah, it was interesting. So the quarterback prior to him, I'm an Iowa Hawkeye fan. I went to Iowa, and a quarterback prior to him ended up going to Iowa, and obviously got hurt, but he didn't do well, and now he transferred again. So it's got to be. It's an interesting kind of thing now with just this almost college free agency. What do you see kind of? Obviously being a younger player and being not that far removed from college, what are you seeing kind of with that whole kind of culture now with the NIL and transfer and all that?
I think it's just going to be different. I think in my mind, a lot of these Division I, big Power 4 colleges aren't going to take as many high school seniors anymore. And so what's going to happen is you're going to have more kids going to the D2 NAI level and proving themselves and balling out. And they're going to transfer up. Yep. So I think that's what it's going to turn out to be. I think is you're going to get a lot better talent, freshman, sophomore at those smaller levels of college football. And then, after their first year, they'll transfer up to a D1 school. I think that's the only change. I think it's going to be different. I think, the basically free agency of college football is also pretty crazy. I grew up as, you're tried and true. You stick to what you're at. And I built a program from scratch. That's, I was the first quarterback since World War II at my school. So, wow. I stayed there all the way and even had opportunities to leave and go to a higher school. But I was like, no, I built this and I want to see it through till, I'm done. And so I think that kind of notion is gone because of, just how college football is trending right now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting just to watch, how it evolves. Obviously, this is kind of still in the early stages and everything. And let's go back to kind of ranking the quarterbacks. Seventh letter, you were on board with Jared Goff, number 1.
Yes, I'm on board.
Who was your number 2, seventh letter? I can't remember. It was Caleb, wasn't it?
It was Love. Jordan Love.
That's because seventh letter knows what he's talking about.
Ain't nobody
I don't
else
know.
in that division. He the last quarterback in our division to beat us.
I played high school football, and I can even see that Love has bad footwork. Like I don't know how the coaches.
He was hurt this year. He was hurt.
I don't know.
He was hurt.
He was hurt.
I don't know how the coaches weren't working with his footwork this summer. I mean, that can be coached out of him, can it, Tyler? Or like I mean that.
I think, of course. I mean, of course, a lot of training can do that. I think Jordan Love. I don't think it's like a footwork issue though. I really think he's been an understudy to Aaron Rodgers, who's probably one of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL,
and throws off his back foot.
Exactly, and he doesn't necessarily. And again, it's just he's a very rotational thrower, and that's just how Aaron Rodgers is. So that's where Jordan Love, kind of learned from a couple of years. But the problem is Aaron Rodgers can do crazy tricks with the ball, and I feel like Jordan Love at times kind of gets caught in this throwing off his back foot, and the ball will sail on him sometimes, and then some of the decision making isn't there as well. So I think that's where he gets in trouble.
Mixed with Favre and Aaron Rodgers,
yeah,
he's like a mixture of them.
Yeah.
Well, and let me chime in here because one of my criticisms of LaFleur, which I know Andy is just licking his chops for this red meat, man. One of my criticisms of LaFleur is that I think he can get a little bit emotional with his play calling sometimes, and it seems like Love feeds off of that. Yeah, and there was definitely a few games last season that was just obvious, man, because it was just deep ball, deep ball, deep ball, deep ball, deep ball. Like, we're going to win the game on one play every single time. And it's just like, guys, can we please get some progression going here? Get a little bit of rhythm going here, like some completions, some first downs. And LaFleur has even admitted that. But have you experienced that with play callers where you maybe are guilty or they're guilty of getting emotional in a game?
Oh, of course. I mean, all the time. The problem is you can't, if something's not broke, don't fix it. But at the same time, if it's broken, we got to fix it.
Fix it. Yeah.
So that's
breaking
kind of the important thing, right? You can't just keep calling deep passes if they're playing cover 4 all day. That's where you got to hit your hitches, and you got to hit your slants, and you got to hit these things. Like, you can't just keep doing those things over and over just because, you saw it on film. You got to make adjustments, and every team is going to play you differently because they're going to try and attack you and get you off your game.
Absolutely. No, I agree.
Well, Miles, I've said for a while, LaFleur has been my man crush. I thought that he definitely made Jordan Love
those eyebrows, man. Like, how can you resist those eyebrows?
But made him better than he was early on his career. I put all that on him. Obviously, I look at that, but then the news here about, I don't know what your thoughts were, Miles, on, they're not going to give him an extension quite yet. I mean, he's got to be in the hot seat, right?
No, wrong. No, I just think that Ed Policy is not in a stance of making big decisions yet, and I don't think he should be, right? I mean, he's not being handed a disaster that needs to be fixed, right? He's being handed a pretty sweet situation, and congrats to Mark Murphy on an excellent career as the Packers president. He did some excellent things, and he really helped usher the Packers through some really potentially turbulent transitions with minimal turbulence. There were some, but man, some of the greatest franchises in the league have stumbled over trying to transition from quarterbacks, especially, franchise quarterbacks. And the Packers have done it gracefully now twice in a row. Just going to go for a third, right? We're just going to keep shipping them off to the Jets when they turn 38. But yeah, so I don't think that Ed Policy's comments about that were anything shocking, and I don't think they were meant to be. And I think really what it is let's see how this season goes. And we all are aware of how seasons can drastically change situations year to year. I mean, the Bears, how many times have you guys had a top 5 pick now in the last 10 years? My goodness, it's been a lot. So, it's been the Kings of the North coming, and then, oh man, what happened? I still thought that what's his name? Well, Mitch Trubisky was going to be the next king of the North. But you just don't know. So I don't think he's in a situation where he's ready to say, yeah, we're going to commit, or no, they're on the hot seat. I think really this season is pretty important. I'm not going to say it's not, but I just don't know what your definition of a hot seat is, man, because LaFleur's not on one.
Well, thank you for clarifying that. Obviously, but I mean, when you look at it, we all have tough schedules, and now obviously with the news of Jair signing with the Ravens, I'm sure he's got December 27th circled on his calendar, and if he's as good as he is, I feel like he's going to play all 17 games this year.
I said it. He's going to play every game this season. He's going to be an All-Pro, and he should have been for the Packers, but that's all right. I'm happy for him. I love Jair, and I know he's going to love playing with Lamar Jackson. Those two have been trying to make that happen since they got in the league. So happy for him. Bummed he's not going to be a Packer, and I think he's probably going to have an All-Pro season.
So Tyler, when obviously in your career so far, like when you've been studying film, have you I'm sure you can kind of pick out who are the better cornerbacks and things like that, and just being able to game plan for them and maybe kind of feel like you get up a little bit more for some of the better players. Like talk about that a little bit in kind of your film prep and facing some of the better cornerbacks and defensive players.
Well, I think, you respect everyone but fear no one. I think that's the big thing, right? And so, you attack certain things, specifically like, if people are going to play cover 4 shells and, you maybe have a ball hawk at the safety position, you may not throw maybe certain digs over the middle or something like that where we know that they're going to come down and hit that, things like that. But, I think, like I said, you got to respect everyone, but you also have to fear no one. And so you can't sit there and be like, oh, this is the best corner of the league, and I'm not going to attack them if they're man-to-man in press coverage. Like you kind of have to, keep them honest. You have to try that. And you have to remember that, like, your receivers are pretty dang good too, and they should be able to win as well.
Oh man. Heck yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love that mentality. I mean, that's because when you look at it as a fan, we're like, especially at all other teams facing Jalen Johnson, like we're not throwing against him. I mean, he is
right.
he is the best corner in the division by far.
My goodness.
Hey, yo, man, I got like 3 deep shots on him, man, in my phone. I swear I sent it to you.
So, well, that was, I mean, I'm sure Tyler, you saw that Bears and Washington Commanders game last year with Tyreek Stevenson. Like, have you? What were your thoughts on that? And have you had like a teammate that's just kind of had like a mental lapse like that's cost you the game? And just like, I don't know. I mean, how do you even react as a teammate like that?
I mean, you have to be a leader in those instances, and that's kind of the biggest thing. Like, yeah, it sucks. I mean, I've had a few times where, these little things, these little plays in games are just so critical in the outcome of the game, but you have to be a leader. You can't sit there and yell at them or get all in their face or things like that, because at the end of the day, like that's not going to help it. That's not going to help the situation. That's not going to help him get better. That's not going to help your team. So you kind of have to be a leader, take it on the chin, and build that man up, because guess what? That same guy is going to either make a play for you later or make a play for you next year or do something great. So I think your leadership really shows in those instances of how you respond and how you help that player up.
Well, especially when he's such a young player. Obviously, as a fan, it sucks, to see that. But and as a fan, it sucked more to see the coaches kind of just, let it happen week in and week out. I mean, have you had that at all where you've maybe obviously not where you're at now because you guys are successful, but maybe have you had like a coach that at some level where you've kind of like lost a little bit of trust in them at all?
No comment.
That's
Okay.
it. That's
All
the
right,
right answer.
yeah.
That's the right
That is.
answer.
Well, yeah, because I'm sure that has to be hard. You guys, all the preparation that goes into it every week, all week, and as a fan, obviously, I'm not doing all the prep. I'm doing my own work, and I'm kind of getting my drinks ready and sitting down and watching the game. I'm investing my time, but I'm not investing the whole week. And so I'm sure, like, as a locker room, it makes a difference. Like, do you feel like most of the locker rooms that you've been in have been pretty kind of tight knit?
Yeah. I mean, realistically, that's kind of how you want every team to be. And so, like, that's, why, we do bowling nights or whatever. Or me and the boys used to go in college, we'd always hang out together and play Madden or things like that, because you kind of have to be, because those are your guys that are in the foxhole with you, as they say, like they're giving their blood, sweat, and tears just like you are. And so, like, I know that I got to trust my offensive tackle or my offensive guard, to be able to get that block, or else, I'm going to get killed. And and my receiver has to trust me enough so that I'm not going to throw him into a kill shot. And so little things like that, like, we have to be a tight knit group. You have to be and the best teams are. The championship teams are. They have to be, or else, you're not going to be great if you're not that way.
So, seventh letter, you have one of your players who has now defected to the Vikings. Do you know the name I'm talking about?
Who?
Jeff
Hawkinson?
Okudah. Jeff Okudah is now a Viking.
He's a bum.
Yeah.
He's a bum, yeah.
JJ
It's the Achilles, man. After the Achilles, it was over for him. Like, he popped his Achilles like his second year. He had a tough first 3 years, man. He won't be. He wasn't missed.
All right. I mean, are you, Tyler, are you going to miss Jeff Okudah at all?
I don't miss him. I don't miss TJ Hawkinson. I don't miss anyone. You know who I miss?
Dang.
I miss Kevin Zeitler.
That's crazy.
Seventh letter does not look back. He does not look back. That's his. Yeah.
I don't miss Hawkinson.
I respect
you miss
you for
Hawkinson?
that.
You miss TJ Hawkinson?
Of course. I thought he was a great tight end, man.
He's a bum. He was soft. Like, what? No.
Hey, man.
He was like Ebron, yo. He was they about the same. Too soft. Tight end.
Wow, Eric Ebron. Good reference. Good reference.
Man, two super soft tight ends, yo.
He was a big disappointment, man.
Laporta's way better than them. Way better than them.
Hey, they're both Iowa guys, so I'm good with that. So going to quarterbacks. So obviously, did we finish out? Love was last, right? Tyler?
I think Caleb's got to show me something a little bit better this year before I do that.
All
wow.
Right,
Yeah,
I knew Tyler was right, man.
And that's just how I feel. I think Jordan Love, there was a lot of plays that he made this year where he didn't take care of the ball. And, but at the same time, I think Caleb's got to show me a little bit more. And what he's got to show me to put him above anybody else is he's got to show me that he can, distribute the ball in quick game. And, that was a struggle for him in college. That was knocked to him in college. And, he's always looking for that big play. And I think he's a great quarterback. He is probably, honestly, I think he's the second most talented in this. Actually, I would say he's the first most talented. He could throw off platform insanely well. Some of the throws I've seen him make in college are just insane. But in my mind, you have to be able to play on schedule, especially in the NFL. Yes. So I think he's got to show me before I'd rank him higher. Now, granted, if I get in that locker room, guess what? I'm going to support him in any way that I can. And I think he's going to be the greatest quarterback ever. But what I think, if I had to rate him going through like these other quarterbacks, like, I think he just got to show me he can play on schedule. He's got to play on schedule more. He's got to be able to hit the quick outs. He's got to be able to get his hitches and not be trying to scramble out of everything.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that. Yeah. What I like is hearing from OTAs, things like that, hearing Ben Johnson challenging him in the media, but also I'm sure in person. And I'd love to hear all that. We were not having that as Bears fans, previous regimes. So here's a bonus question for you, Tyler. Tell me your thoughts on the legendary lion killer, Justin Fields.
He did used to play good against us.
I mean, he did. I'm hoping he does well with the Jets. I mean, obviously, you talked about kind of being a good decision maker. He's a heck of a runner, and he's almost. Some might say he's almost Tyler Kulka-ish with his running and scoring touchdowns. So, what are your thoughts just on Justin Fields and maybe what he needed to improve and needs to improve?
I think, it's like you said, he is an insanely good runner. And I've been really, it's tough for me because I always thought he was a great passer in college too. But ever since he's gotten to the league, like, I feel like teams have exposed his passing game. And so I think he just needs to work on, his reads, being more accurate with the football. But I mean, he could run the football, man. He's got an insane ability, and he's got a cannon as well. So I think, Justin Fields, in my mind, he's got to work on his accuracy. I'm not in the meetings with him. I don't know his reads specifically. I don't know what he's looking for in certain concepts and stuff like that. I'd love to get in that room with him and see where he's at. Not like I'm a coach or anything, but it would be really interesting to see kind of where he's at with that. But I think accuracy for me and some of his intermediate to short throws, I think is something that he could work on.
Okay. So that's an interesting, say that. So, about the, maybe kind of what they're coached to look for, right? Like, yeah. So you're like in different plays and different sets, you have different reads. You're coached to look for different things. So it's not necessarily like straightforward. Like as a fan, we see it one way. Or like he's open. Why not throw it there?
Exactly.
So yeah, talk a little bit more about that.
Well, I think just like every offensive coordinator has specific things that they look for in every play. So like, one coach may coach a certain concept like, hey, I want you to look for this. If this coverage that they do this, I want you to attack this high low. Or if they're playing cover 4, I want you to attack the left side. Or, hey, bring this guy in motion so we can see this coverage. And if we see this coverage, we want to attack this. It's funny because, you watch film as a quarterback afterwards and you're sitting there, you're like, wow, that guy was wide open. Wish my reads would have took me there. But at the end of the day, that's not what they're coached to do. And so that's why, like I said, I love to see, where he's at progressionally with, reading defense, stuff like that. Cause, I feel like to be a quarterback in the NFL and to have teams pick you up and things of that nature, like you have to be pretty good at it. And so it all comes down to finding the right coach, one that you click with, one that you understand, and then also being accurate with the football. So that's why I would say, like, my critique to Justin Fields isn't necessarily reads. I would say it's more of his accuracy and being in his short and intermediate throws.
Does it kind of grate at you, like when you see some like armchair quarterback fans kind of take a screenshot and like circle and say, oh, he's wide open, he missed that?
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. It's like, well, it's just not what we're coached to do, but whatever, you move on. Yeah. But like my favorite was when Odell Beckham was in Cleveland and was saying like, oh, I was open on this play. And then Baker Mayfield said, yeah, but that's not the route you're supposed to run on that play. And then Stefanski backed Baker Mayfield up. Like, that was hilarious to me. It's like, dude, if you're not running the route you're supposed to run, how am I supposed to get you the ball? I don't know that you're going to do that. Like, and then the other thing that, receivers say all the time is timing is insanely important. And how you build timing is chemistry and working on these routes together. Yes. And so, like, if you're just running your own routes and getting open, how am I supposed to know what you're doing? Like, it's just – anyway. But, yeah, that's a little bit of a tangent, but I just think that's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I was a Justin Fields supporter. He's still my guy.
Supporter.
Go ahead,
yeah.
My guy.
The tweets.
He's still my guy.
Yo, we need to go back.
He's still my guy. I want to see him do well. But I understood,
he just feels like we like Matthew Stafford.
Ooh.
That's how much you like Justin.
I liked him. Yes.
He didn't want to trade.
I know this is a hot take, but I think running quarterbacks in the NFL, it's going to be tough for those quarterbacks to win a championship because if you shut down the run, in a big game, you need to be able to sit back in the pocket and move the ball down the field by throwing the football. And that's the problem with running quarterbacks is accuracy and things like that aren't there. And, Jalen Hurts proved me wrong this year. I think I love Jalen Hurts. I love his leadership. But in my mind, for me, it was very similar. And so I think that's the thing with Justin Fields is he needs to work on his play from within the pocket.
Yeah, that's absolutely a great take there. So you've got the playoffs coming up. Talk a little bit about that and what you're excited for, coming up with your team.
Well, we're pretty excited. We got the 2 seed in the league in the AF1. This is bringing back the old AF1 or AFL from years back, and Jeff Fisher's the owner, and I've had some good conversation with him. He's a great dude. And so we're just excited for being in the playoffs. We started the season off 0-2, and, I got the nod after being 0-2, got brought in, and they gave me the job to be the starter. And, I ended up doing a great job with a great team around me. And we just started stacking together games and stacking together players, and just, we've done a lot of great things. And now we're in the playoffs as the 2 seed. So we're really excited to see what we can do. And, we got a game at home in Nashville, Tennessee. So we're pretty excited about that. And then, if we win this one, we're in the Arena Bowl. So, anything could happen, 1-game season at this point.
Yeah. And so it's really the inaugural season. But I'm guessing along your roster, do you have people who've kind of been in some big games, playoff games that kind of lean on just some of the obviously, regular season is one thing, but kind of playoffs, it takes it up a notch. Do you have some players that you kind of rely on in those big moments?
Yeah, we have a few veterans that have won IFL championships, AFL championships, a bunch of people that have been in the NFL and stuff like that. So, a lot of guys, a lot of talent are across the board. So I'm really grateful for those guys, teaching me the game, helping me be the quarterback that I'm supposed to be. It's been awesome.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely appreciate you coming on. Definitely great to hear your quarterback takes. And hey, I'm okay. Everybody's sleeping on Caleb Williams. I am perfectly okay with that. The future is bright. Especially with, as a Michigan, well, I guess you're a Sparty, so you're not really a huge Colston Loveland fan.
I think he's a great tight end.
I love him. And as far as that's another question I had as well. They talk about 12 personnel sets. Tell me a little bit more about that. Do you guys do that? I mean, obviously it's a little bit different in the Arena League because I think you have running wide receivers still, correct? That kind of hit the. I mean, do you know what can you say about the 12 personnel that maybe Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet will dominate in this year?
I just think I think anytime that you have 2 really good tight ends, it really helps you out with those 12 personnel sets because realistically you can throw the ball out of it and be just fine. I think that's the great thing, but you need 2 good tight ends to do that can run routes and catch. And so I think that's insanely important because obviously you go 12 personnel to try to run the ball. And I think that's obviously the main focus. But if you have a 12 personnel that you can sit back and you can actually run all of your pass concepts with and run certain concepts and do whatever you want to do, I think that's very, very beneficial for any team, to be honest, because you can't say, oh, they're in 10 personnel where they're going to throw the ball and, oh, they're in 12, they're going to run the ball because, hey, in 12 the ball, we might throw the ball just as much. If we see something or if we're watching film and we say, hey, when they're in 12 personnel, this is how they line up to it and we can attack it this way. I think it's obviously a great thing, but, I think that also comes down to how does Ben Johnson use that and does he do a great job?
He does.
So you're telling me that what I kind of summarized what you're saying. You're telling me that my guy Caleb Williams is going to have a 4,000-yard passing season. I think that's kind of what I heard. 7th letter.
Yeah, that's what
the first one in over 100 years of football.
I mean, when you have all of those options and you have a coach that knows how to use them.
Yeah, he uses his tight ends. That's one thing we do. We use all of them too. The third and fourth stringers we use. You know what I'm saying? We use tight ends.
I like that.
But again, he's got to play on schedule. So, and he's insanely talented. So if he can play on schedule, nothing's out of the question for that kid.
So obviously you have some experience with wide receivers as well. Just kind of a bonus here. Rank the wide receiver cores in the NFC North.
Oh man, that's tough.
It really is.
I think Jordan.
I mean, I'm sorry, Packers is probably dead last.
Yes.
They don't.
Get it?
Who do they have? Proven. In my mind, I don't know. I think
a lot of athleticism, a lot of upside, not a lot of proven. That's fair.
There you go. And I think the Vikings got to be number one. I think Justin Jefferson's probably the best receiver in the league, and Jordan Addison. The Vikings just have 2 number 1 receivers, so I think that's what's in my mind. They have 2 number 1s, so I think that's why I put the Vikings at 1. And then I think you got to put the Lions. I just think they have, and in the Lions they got a lot of talented receivers, and that's also another thing that made them successful. I think Amon-Ra is a great receiver. Jameson Williams super speedy. I just think they're great across the board. And then I put the Bears and then I put the Packers. That's how I would rate it.
I agree.
The Bears will be dead last by the end of the season.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, so that's I do have a question as well. Obviously, we have younger wide receivers, and we weren't in the meeting rooms, in the draft rooms, or anything like that. Luther Burden, I think he's going to be talented. When you look at wide receiver types and all that, is he similar to DJ Moore?
It's just tough. It's tough to compare receivers in different skill sets. I would say he's very similar. But it's tough because every receiver is different in their own way. Every receiver is different is good at different things. So I can't really comment too much about that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, I get it. Everyone is sleeping on my Bears. I'm ready for this, Miles. I'm ready for this. 2025 is going to be an amazing year to be a Bears fan.
Yep, we've been hearing that for a long time.
They said it about the Lions, and before 2 years ago, everyone was very true until the Lions became great 2 years ago. So,
whoa. Good. They became
great.
Great. I think they're pretty great.
Did they make a Super Bowl?
All right.
Where they won away.
No, the Lord didn't want me to have it last year. God didn't want me to have it. I wasn't ready yet. But we whooped y'all ass all last year. Everybody in our division got that work. Everybody.
The Lions lost their starting defense last year. They were the best team in the league, and then they lost their whole starting defense.
Everybody.
They did. Yeah.
The defensive injuries were stacked. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
I think if they don't have those defensive injuries, I think the Lions either win the Super Bowl, or at least go to the Super Bowl last year.
Win the Super Bowl.
I agree. I agree with you. That's what I'm trying to say. But when you lose your entire starting defense, you're not going to have.
It's tough.
Everybody was hurt. Mm-hmm. Everybody.
I think there's a book.
Before they were 1 game away from the Super Bowl, so I think they're a great team. I would put them as a great team, especially from what they were before, which not being in the playoffs for years and years. Everyone called it the curse in Detroit. Yeah, they're a great team now.
Well, and if I can, I want to defend the difference between Detroit and Chicago here real quick, because I know you're trying to make those comparisons, Andy. I'm going to shoot you down here, because and not entirely though. But what happened in Detroit is Dan Campbell changed the culture. That's just true. He changed the culture. And Tyler, you were alluding to the importance of culture in a program, and I couldn't agree more. I think culture is insanely important. And when you have bad culture, it takes an entire group of individuals, whether that be coaches, players, or a combination, to overcome that. Dan Campbell coming in and setting that tone, I think, is a difference. And I think that's precisely why they will be able to handle losing both coordinators, because they're not losing the thing that was the reason for the change. Yeah, it was. They're not. Yeah, exactly. they're losing part of it, but they're not losing the thing that actually made the machine go and built the machine.
Yep.
Whereas like with the Bears, you guys have been like, let's put this together, see if it works. All right, now let's tear that down and put this together, see if it works. That didn't work. Let's tear that one down and put this together and see if it works. Like, I don't see the culture change yet.
Well, because you haven't been paying attention long enough yet.
Yeah. I didn't look close enough.
Although I think I've said this, I do think the Lions win the division. I think, in my opinion, the Bears are going to make the playoffs, be right there. I mean, when you look at the schedule, we all have tough schedules. I mean, I don't think, and this is my hot take, I don't think there's a division team in the NFC North that wins more than 11 games. It is a meat grinder within the division, but then outside of the division, I mean, it's going to be the Lions have to play the Chiefs. I mean,
we're gonna beat the shit out of them again.
You don't think Mahomes is going to be motivated?
Don't care nothing about Mahomes. We beat him before. Matter of fact, Jared Goff has never lost to Mahomes before.
I mean,
Never.
Well, Mahomes plays his regular season like it's the preseason, and then just kind of decides he wants to play football in the playoffs. So
I don't care what he do.
he does
what he does.
So that's interesting as a quarterback that you see that too. I mean,
that's just what I mean. I don't know if it's necessarily Mahomes, but I think when you watch him play in the regular season, he's trying things. He's doing little cool passes or whatever. He's trying things, and then he gets in the playoffs because he knows he's going to get there because he's got a great team behind him, and then he turns it on, does what Patrick Mahomes does because he's, in my mind, there's no one touching him right now. He's the best quarterback in the league.
Tyler,
so that's why.
Keep it real.
That's what I would say. Good to great. That's why I would say
they don't be cheating for the Chiefs, Tyler.
I don't know. There was some crazy calls.
They cheat for them all year. They had no
game PIs are pretty bad.
Although let's keep it 100. I think that watching last year's game, Matthew Stafford should have beat the Eagles and should have been the Super Bowl.
Too.
That was not believe.
Me too.
Oh, that was crazy. Anyway.
Well, it's similar to what the Packers get at Lambeau, the Lambeau calls.
Oh, come on, man.
It always comes back to that. It always comes back to that.
They used to cheat Aaron Rodgers too. Yes, they did.
Oh, all the time.
All the time.
That is just not true.
Hey, when Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers used to play against each other, they ain't know who to cheat. It was crazy.
Well, that's why they actually didn't have that many head-to-head matchups, man. The NFL didn't know what to do.
For real. For real.
Well, I feel like we could talk all night. Definitely appreciate everyone coming on. Obviously, love having you give us all the insights. Where can everyone find you, and where can everyone find your game this weekend? More importantly, Tyler.
Well, if you're around the Tennessee area, we're playing F&M Bank Arena in Clarksville, Tennessee. But Evergreen now is a streaming app that does the AF1 stuff. Cool. It's a free app that everybody can download and watch for free. And then I don't know if they've decided what's going to be the game of the week, whether it's Albany versus Salina or if that's going to be us in Southwest Kansas. But the game of the week is always on Vice Sports, Vice TV. So that's, another way to find us. And then where you can find me is on Instagram, Tyler Kulka 17, and on Twitter as TCulk17, and come follow my journey. Hopefully awesome. I can be in the NFC North.
Heck yeah, man. Make us talk about you.
I would love it.
Absolutely. And Miles, always love your takes. Where can everyone find you as we close out?
Yeah, I always love hanging out with you guys. You guys can find me on the Pack Weekly Pod every Monday night. We're talking Pack, 9:30 p.m. Central, streaming live. Just did our 100th episode this week, so we're cruising right along. Hopefully,
congratulations,
hundreds more. Thank you guys, I appreciate you. It was kind of snuck up. It's like, oh shoot, 100 episodes, man.
It's a lot of cheese. It's a lot of cheese.
A lot of cheese.
A lot of bright futures, man. We're about to see Jordan Love do some things that you boys are not going to be happy about, but that's okay.
Hey, tell you what, I think we have, just from present to the future, we have one of the most intriguing divisions, going forward. With all the young quarterbacks and just all the young teams, coaches. I think, and we said this last year, seventh letter, I think it's going to be true this year. I think the Super Bowl NFC participant comes from our division. We're going to say it this year.
Yeah.
It could have last year. It very well
Yeah.
could have last year. I
Very-
totally agree
very
with you.
well could last
It
year.
will this year. It will this year.
Here,
And you can find those takes on NFL Outdated on. Well, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just wanting to say good luck to you, Tyler. Man, kick ass this weekend.
Appreciate
Absolutely.
it. We got it.
And you can find me on NFL Outdated on Twitter X, on YouTube. You can find us Wednesday nights here. You can find us on the Freezin number 4 pod on the TikTok. We're going to be doing a dance pretty soon, 7th letter. We have to do a dance. We have to do some type of dance.
I thought y'all were gonna play some one-on-one. Where's that?
I fucked my knee up, yo.
Oh, come on, man. Gotta fix that thing.
Coming
up
up.
now.
It's coming eventually. Get
Probably beat
rehab,
him
all
with
that
one
stuff.
knee.
I'm gonna bust his ass soon.
Hey, I am 5'10", 210 with the
Mouse
killer
in the
fadeaway. Killer fadeaway.
It's called Mouth in the
With
House.
a killer fadeaway.
It's called Get That Shit Out of Here. Mouth in the House.
7th letter. Where can everyone find you, sir?
7th letter for Twitter X, same OG, Instagram, Facebook. On top of the NFC North, King of the North. Fly high AC baby. Thanks for having me again. I had fun again with you guys. Sorry, I'm a little low energy today because the Lions ain't talking about shit this week. So,
That's why I always got to get you going. That's always got to get you going.
but I'm here, man. So God bless
Appreciate
you guys. Y'all have a good week, man. Be safe. Good luck on your game. Man, go kill shit. I was looking at your Instagram page. I followed you. So
Perfect. I'll follow you back.
good luck, my friend.
Yes,
Rooting
sir.
for you,
Thank
man.
you.
Once again, this has been the Freezin for NFC North podcast, and we will catch you again next week. Thanks again, everybody. Bear down.
I got it.
Go, Pack, go.
One